In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to start on Amazon from scratch. So if you're thinking about starting an Amazon business and you have little money to spend, then this is the video for you. Now before we get started, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Now, apparently, if you want to get notified when we upload a new video, you have to hit that bell icon as well. So if you want that, please do so. Now, with that out of the way, let's get started.
Sit down, big smiles, plant the bug underneath the table. Easy peasy, Japanesey, Bob's your uncle, that's that.
That's that?
So the first thing you have to keep in mind is that selling on Amazon, and no matter if that's private label or arbitrage, selling on Amazon is not easy. And by extension, there is no formula or 10-step program on getting rich. If there was, then I can assure you I would have added a couple of zeros to our course. And many people with me, I suspect. Now, there are some things that will tweak the circumstances in your favor, like putting in the hours consistently and not giving up. But it will never be easy.
I am awake.
To many people, getting started on Amazon is like a catch-22. You want to do this because you want more money or generate more money, but in order to get more money, you need more money. Thing is, that lack of money is not the real problem here, because you're actually much richer than you realize. The problem lies in how you spend your money. To illustrate the point, here are some things the average person spends their money on. 33% of people spend $1,000 on Christmas presents. 22% spend somewhere between $500 and $999. 29% expect to spend somewhere between $100 and $499. Only 3% spend less than $100 on Christmas presents. Now, the average household spends $4,700 a year on entertainment and clothing. The average car loan is $31,455, which amounts to an average monthly payment of $523. The average household spends $565 a year on alcohol, which translates to $22,600 over a lifetime. The average person spends $1,979 on their summer vacation. And I think I already have mentioned this in another video, but the cost of a daily cup of coffee the average person tends to buy every day amounts to roughly $1,100 a year. So when you cut back on these things, you'll have more than enough to get started on Amazon. But aside from money, if you take these measures consistently, you'll find that over time you are changing your mindset and transition from being a consumer to being an entrepreneur.
Here it is. Show me the money.
Now, if there's nowhere you can cut costs, then the only thing left is to increase your income, obviously. And that may involve asking for a raise, working an extra day, or perhaps even a second job, which you can combine with your regular job. Just don't think that for a second that selling on Amazon will be an immediate revenue machine that solves all your money problems. Some say that you can make money starting with next to nothing and that you will see your profits soar through the roof with little to no effort. But that's a flat out lie. Because especially in the beginning, you have to put in a lot of money to get things going, so that maybe a few years from now, few years down the line, you will have some serious capital from which you can build another business and become rich. So let us assume you have enough money. What to do next? Do you sign up for a software program, a buy list, enroll in a course, or simply just wing it and see how it goes? Well, to me the thing is that if you're really new to this and you have no e-commerce background or business background, and you really are serious about selling on Amazon, I would advise you to start with a course. Now the reason being is because every year, 1 million new sellers join Amazon. Let that number sink in for a minute. 1 million new competition year on year. Now that's not even the worst thing. I mean, aside from that million sellers, you also have existing sellers on the platform who somehow manage to survive the onslaught of new sellers each year. And not only survive, but actually thrive. Right? These people have more capital and more knowledge than you. So to me, the idea that you can just go in happy-go-lucky and make a lot of money without any knowledge how to actually do it, to me is complete madness. Now the second, the follow-up thing you should consider then is, okay, what type of course would you sign up for? Now, first of all, skip all the scammy ones, like X-step program to become rich, or basically anyone promising you any type of result or saying how rich they are and therefore you should be rich. All that, if there's nothing else beside of that they tell you about the course they offer, then it's a scammy course. But more than that, you have to pick a course in the sense that, are you going more for private label, wholesale, arbitrage, that kind of the business model basically. Now, many people, basically they equate Amazon FBA to private label. Now, although I agree that private label is far more scalable and you have more control of certain things that you don't have with arbitrage and wholesale, the big problem I have with private label is that, and people that offer them most of the time, is they tell you only like a partial truth. They tell you, oh, everyone can do it, you can start with little to no money, and all that stuff. The thing is, if you're realistic, about a successful building a successful brand using the private label, then you need at least $10,000 just to get launched, just to get started. You need to have some knowledge about the Amazon framework, which most of the time courses tend to teach you. But what they don't teach you, and what's much more important than you might realize now, is that you have to have digital marketing skills. Now, digital marketing, it's basically, a simplified definition is like you know how to do Facebook ads, Google ads, know how to do like copyright for a certain brand, know how to position it. That's much more important than knowing how to create a listing. And most courses on private label focus on that listing part and that hacking your way through it. It really is about digital marketing, and that goes for dropshipping, wholesale, affiliate marketing. Everything aside arbitrage basically relies on digital marketing, and most courses out there don't teach you that, and most people out there don't tell you that you need a lot of capital just to get ranked, just to get started, right? That $10,000 I mentioned earlier, it's just to get ranked. It's quite possible that you lose that $10,000 just on your very first inventory. So, all right. So, That's really something you have to keep in mind. Now, as for buy list or software programs, I would basically not advise you to spend your money on them. Not even our thing. And not because there's something bad or wrong with them. Because they can scale up. They can help you scale up an existing thriving business. It's, however, not very good if you're just getting started. You probably have limited capital, right? And again, it's really about understanding it, right? There's nothing wrong with, let's say, tactical arbitrage or FBA wizard. I have nothing against them. There's nothing wrong with them. The problem is how a lot of people think that it's suitable for people that get started. And that's not the case. It's suitable for people who already have something going and need to scale up, right? Because if you're getting started, that $100 a month, it reduces your profits considerably and it slows down growth. And that's more important, like the growth, maintaining growth, than taking the easy way out. So my advice, again, if you're new to Amazon, have no e-commerce experience, don't have digital marketing skills to speak of, limited capital, all that kind of stuff, start with a course and start with arbitrage.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
So, how much money would you need to realistically start building your Amazon business? Now, if you ask around online, there's always someone who tells you that you can start with next to nothing. Well, me and my friend Excel over here are going to try and make clear to you how much of nothing you really need. Now, as you can see, I have filled in $1,000 as starting capital, and the Excel sheet goes ahead and projects your earnings over a period of 3 years. Now it's clear that just starting with $1,000 is not enough, as the monthly Amazon fees are eating up most of your profits. And also consider the fact that this profit is based on the fact that you're hitting that 20% margin steadily. To be frank, without the proper knowledge in place, you won't even be able to hit that 20% in today's market. Now, as you may remember, I advised against signing up for a leads list software program when you just get started. Now let me show you through the numbers why that is. Right? So let us move over to the right here and fill in $100. So go to the right, fill in $100 here. Okay. Now, as you can see, from the 11th month onward, so let's go to the left a bit. Oh, the 10th month basically. The 10th month onwards, you start losing money. Now, the formula I used in this sheet kind of breaks down when it starts hitting negative numbers. This is because I used an additive formula, which only works properly when the figures themselves are positive. However, the fact remains that you will start making a loss after the 10th month. Not as profound as this sheet now shows you, but a loss nonetheless. And again, even if you hit that 20% margin steadily, all it will do is make the loss less bad. You will never make a profit in this model, simply because your expenses always exceed your profits. Now, to be fair, let us look at what happens when we put in the money for our course instead of a leads list. So let's remove this one, set it to 0 again, and put in the price for our course, which is 597. Okay. And although less, it's obvious that over time you will still lose money. So let's take a leap and fill in a start capital of $3,000. Right, so let us fill in $3,000 here. Now, again, as you can see, the first year you take a bit of a hit. But looking towards the third year, you essentially more than doubled your money. Now, for the sake of being complete, let us look at what happens if we replace the course with a recurring fee for a leads list or software program again. So, remove this, set it to 0, and add the price for the software or the leads list. Okay. Now, as you can see, having a recurring fee in place damages your profits profoundly. Right, so let's move a bit to the left. And incidentally, this is also why we offer a heavily discounted yearly plan for our leads, to make sure that people with small budgets can still make money. And just for the fun of it, let's fill in the yearly fees. Okay, so remove this, set it to 0 again, and set the incidental cost 497, and here 497, and here 497. And as you can see, even though you take a bit of a hit each year, you still make a decent profit year on year. Again, this is why we introduced this. Now, if you don't have $3,000 at your disposal and are getting discouraged by all of this, then rest assured there is one more option. So let us remove the yearly fees for our lead service and replace it again with the one-time course fee. Okay, so go back to 597, set this one to 0 again, this one to, okay, and this one back to 1,000. Now, as expected, we start dipping into the negative numbers again. What we're going to do now, however, is instead of adjusting the start capital, we start adding monthly inputs. So basically, this is money you have to invest extra on a monthly basis to increase your starting capital incrementally instead of all at once, as to reverse the negative trend that you now have. So let us start with $50 a month. Right, so let's go to the right here. I already created this little entry, and I'm going to fill in a negative $50. Now it's negative because this table is basically accumulating all the costs. So if I fill in a negative number, it becomes a plus. It's a math thing, so don't worry about it too much. It still works. Now, okay, hit enter. Now, as you can see, it's enough to get out of the negative trend, right? You see there's a positive trend going on here now. And by the third year, you have more than doubled your initial investment. Now, ideally, you want to double it to say $100 a month, as that really gets you the results. So let's just fill it in for the fun of it. See, so that really, that really makes a few decent jumps here, year on year. However, with even a small $50 monthly investment, you can really start building up your business. So hopefully you'll now see why I tend to get annoyed when people say you can run an Amazon business with as little as $200. It's simply not very realistic. Now, to summarize all of which I have talked about, you essentially have three options. Option number one is trying to sell on Amazon without buying a course. This, of course, leads to a high chance of failure, and most likely you will lose a lot more money than the cost of a course. Option number two is by starting with a big amount of capital, or relative big amount, let's say $3,000, and move from there. Or option number three is start with a relatively low amount of start capital, say $1,000, and add a monthly investment to compensate for all the costs and basically reverse the negative trend. Again, a minimum of $50 a month is necessary, but it's doable. So to summarize, ideally you'll start with $3,000 and the course so you actually know how to run an Amazon business. However, starting with say $1,000 and investing $50 at minimum each and every month is a good second option. However, I cannot recommend in good conscience the first option, the option being where you just wing it and see how it goes, because the fail rate is too high for people who do that. So if you really don't want to spend money or invest it in a course, then my advice would be to simply don't get started. Just get back to your 9 to 5. And again, I have nothing against that. It's a solid way to make money, but don't waste your money on Amazon.
Admiral, we have enemy ships in Sector 47.
It's a trap!
So this about wraps up our video on how to start selling on Amazon starting from scratch. And I do hope that it helps to put things in perspective. And remember, the sooner you realize that this is a business and that it's not easy nor supposed to be easy, the better you will do on Amazon. Anyway, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.